I posted a video last night about the photo which has leaked onto social media of a Ukrainian man who was decapitated and his head was fixed to a spike in Bakhmut. And I pointed out that this, I thought, was brutal and savage and demonstrated a level of savagery and hideous behavior by the Russian troops in Bakhmut, particularly, almost certainly by the Wagner mercenaries, many of whom are criminals, we know. But this is not the first instance, and it's certainly not the first time that I have seen photos like this. There was a photo that I particularly remember a while ago of a Ukrainian head in a box. And these photos are circulated on Russian-speaking social media, and they're circulated with bravado and without reservation. And I think it's a blessing that these images have not made it onto Western media. And I felt reluctant to say too much about the specifics, because I think the conclusions are enough. That the conclusions are that this is evil. The problem with evil is it spreads. And there is no doubt in my mind at all that Mr. Putin and Prigozhin have unleashed the devil into this war. It's not necessary. War can be brutal, but this level of savagery is something, as I say, from the Middle Ages, and absolutely it is not peculiar to Slavic combat. You will find all you have to do is go into St. Magnus Church and look at the wonderful maquette of London Bridge, and there's a point on London Bridge where there were heads displayed of traitors. So this is in our not so distant past. There was a head of Oliver Cromwell, which was something of a tourist trap, which disintegrated outside the Palace of Westminster, outside Parliament. It was there for over 100 years. The grisly past that we share with others should make us learn from the past, and should make us determined not to go back to that savagery, because we were all savages in the past, weren't we? Savagery is something we put behind us when we embrace civilization, when we embrace a world where we should be able to solve our problems by sitting down and negotiating, by sitting down and talking. That's not about compromise. That's about talking. So again, the social media trolls, and particularly the Russian trolls, have put words into my mouth, have suggested that I have in the past recommended compromise. I have never recommended compromise. I've recommended negotiation. That's not the same thing. These things are not synonymous. And we should all the time be negotiating. It's not necessarily the job of Ukraine and Russia to sit down to negotiate together. That will require a lot of effort and a lot of preparation. But other countries, like Britain, should be in a position to sit down with Russia, and we should not be closing windows, and we should not be closing doors on that level of discussion. We are not at war with Russia, no matter what the trolls say. We are not at war with Russia. We may think that Putin is evil. I don't actually think Putin is absolutely evil. I think Putin has unleashed evil. There's a slight difference. I think Putin has done evil things. I think Putin is on the cusp of utter evil. But I think he can be pulled back. And when I look at the photographs of Putin in church, I know he can be pulled back. There is goodness there. It's a matter of finding it and finding a way to appeal to that. The Christianity he espouses is a Christianity couched in peace And in fact, Orthodoxy doesn't have the concept of a just war in its theology. All war is wrong in Orthodoxy. Patriarch Kirill presided over the acquisition of the just war theory in the early 2000s in a conference. He was wrong. And more than that, Putin, in this invasion of Ukraine, has broken every single element of the just war theory. Every single element. So this is not a just war. And it is savage. On the other hand, however, Orthodoxy does have a way of linking itself to the nation, and therefore a nation going to war will take its priests with it. Other religions have done the same, other nations have done the same. But Orthodoxy is unique in taking a theological view that war is wrong, while at the same time recognizing that those people engaged in war need access to the sacraments and to the church. It's understandable. Orthodoxy recognizes there is a goal, which is perfection, and that we regularly fail to meet that goal. In fact, we are unable to meet that goal. You take the two statements from Matthew and from Luke's Gospel. Contradictory. Be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect, and no one is perfect but God alone. Orthodoxy is very keen on recognizing that dichotomy, that apparent contradiction. But it doesn't mean that it condones war, or at least didn't until the language of Patriarch Kirill. For this reason, and his embracing of ethnophilitism, extreme nationalism, I would regard him as an arch-heretic, as a non-patriarch, as a non-bishop, as somebody to be defied and rejected. And of course his background is to be found in the Secret Service. He was a serious Secret Service, KGB operative, probably higher ranking than Putin. So Patriarch Kirill, however you look at him, is a KGB ranker. Putin, we know, was ranking in the KGB, but not as seriously as his master, Patriarch Kirill. And we need to bear all that in mind when we when we avoid looking at the photographs that have come onto social media recently. I think only one of those photographs has come onto the mainstream media, and I hope the other one doesn't. But these photographs are stomach-turning, as indeed is the activity behind those photographs. But evil is evil, and it invades, and it corrupts all equally.